You can't beat the classics.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the beginning of a special series of You Can't Beat the Classics episodes. So this is the start of You Can't Beat the Classics premiere episodes. So this is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do. The premiere episodes are going to be covering new movies as they come out, because I think it's only right that we talk about, what's coming out as it comes along, just because, always a good movie, maybe that's probably going to come out and you don't want to miss talking about it. So this episode we got myself and George here for this one. What's going on, George?
Nothing. I'm super excited to talk about Venom. Been holding this in all weekend.
Yeah, man, this is a big one that we're starting off here. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And before we get into it, I probably explain. I mean, the format for the premiere episodes are probably going to work a little bit differently than what you normally see. I think because obviously we're sitting in a movie theater, we don't have a chance to write stuff down like we normally do.
Right.
So I think these premiere episodes will be a lot more all over the place, probably. Try to cover as much as we can. And then maybe another thing we won't be doing for these episodes is probably not showing any footage from the movie, only because I know YouTube is probably going to come down with a copyright strike, on the more recent movies, probably. So if I throw in a Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer in here, probably going to get taken down. So not worth doing, I guess. But all right, that's probably the only big differences here. But yeah, let's talk about the movie.
Spoiler alert before we get in.
Oh, very. There'll be lots of spoilers in this.
Yeah.
I don't want to. If we're gonna be talking about it for a long time, I don't want to leave anything out. So yeah, this is your spoiler warning for Venom: Let There Be Carnage. If you don't want to know what happens, then this is not the episode for you.
Yeah. Instead of listening to this, just go to the movies for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think what address first is probably what you thought going into it, and then what did you think of the movie overall?
so we talked all day about that. Actually, I was scared going in, and I remember
Yep.
you kept me honest with the Rotten Tomato update.
Yeah.
I didn't like the PG-13 aspect.
Hmm.
I thought that how do you portray Cletus Cassidy and make him sinister and evil and everything with a PG-13? And then uh I didn't love Venom, right? Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. I didn't love Venom.
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't love it. So like you really kind of had to change directions, and Andy Serkis, in God we trust there, right?
Yep.
I remember the movie finished and I was like, okay, I like that one a lot more. I liked it a
Yeah.
lot more. And then we'll just leave the end credit scene out. But the end credit scene, I sat in my chair for at least 15 minutes after, just
Dude.
mind numb, like melted. And I
Oh
remember
man.
vomiting from my mouth, like so many different things, what that could mean and what it could be.
Yeah.
And at the point where one of my roommates was like, "Hey, I have a date. We gotta go. Let's get like, come on." Like, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think the after credit scene will have to have like a special place for that, because dude, that's a game changer.
It's huge, man.
Um,
But like, what could it
it's
it can mean so many things.
it's crazy. But we'll save that, because that's really big. Um, my feelings for the movie going into it are probably a lot similar to yours too. I was really excited for it because I was kind of on the same boat. Like, I liked Venom. I wasn't like thrilled about it, but I was like, okay. I think people were too harsh on the 2018 one.
Yeah.
So when they announced this, when Carnage was expected to be the next baddie, I said, wow. I said that's and the fact that Woody Harrelson was playing him, I was like, he'll kill it. He'll nail it. I think he'll do a really good job with Carnage, and Andy Serkis, I trust a lot. From a lot everything that he's worked on. He's great. And then Tom Hardy, obviously, I trust him too because I thought he did a good job. And then, yeah, the PG-13 rating scared me too. That was one of the things that made me worry about it was the PG-13 rating. And I think another thing I brought up to you was like the review embargo for it was not being lifted until the movie came out, which
Yeah.
that never happens. Usually you find out how a movie is like a week before. Like
I
even
wonder
with
why that was too. That's odd because you would
yeah,
think studios doesn't want to hold that back, right? They went up like what was it, 20, 30 points?
yeah. But like the studio like purposely like held it until it came out, which was weird.
Yeah.
Which I thought like, oh, maybe they don't want people knowing.
Maybe they wanted to skim the reviews and make sure they didn't spoil the end credit.
Maybe the after credits had something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
Yeah.
I,
But yeah, but I mean, I went into it like slightly worried, but I was like, nah, I think they'll do fine. And yeah, after I sat through it, I said, you know what? I said, yeah, it was fine.
yeah, like the movie I thought was so. If you want like an Avenger level, like amazing rock your socks movie, this isn't it. And then maybe like after I watched Venom 1, before I went to go see Venom 2, I was like, we need to tone down the expectations of these individual movies. Like
Yeah,
Marvel did a really good job of like giving you different aspects of characters. Like Captain America is arguably the best one because no one liked Captain. Let's be real. No one fucking liked Captain America in the comics. He was just a goody
yeah,
two shoe. It took the Winter Soldier run for him to be cool again in like the 90s, and then all of a sudden he was boring again until Civil War, and like he was just a tough character. But in the movies they showed you like, hey, here's comic book Cap. Now you know the story of Captain America. You don't have to read the comics. And then Winter Soldier's like, it blows your fucking socks. Like
hmm,
it's an amazing transformation. But like there's cool moments, and I think we just demand those power up cool moments in every superhero movie we see now, and it tarnishes like Venom. Venom isn't a bad movie. It just
yeah,
doesn't have that moment where like Cap lifts the hammer, or Stark gets this cool new armor that does whatever he thinks. Uh so if you take all that out, Venom's not a bad movie. It's just like, I don't know. It was a little all over the place for me. Like Tom Hardy in
yeah.
the beginning was tough to handle in that one, but he
Mm.
figured it out halfway through. So
Um,
to talk, yeah, go ahead.
I think another unexpected thing with Venom is like I think the way they created him, like started him off as a character as like kind of like a comedic like back and forth between Eddie
Yeah.
Brock and Venom, which is weird. And like Venom is like this like almost like comical like parasite or whatever. Like I feel like That's not what Venom really is supposed to be. Like, it's not supposed to be funny, really. But like I
I
don't know.
like so to add to that, I like the back and forth, right? Because they are in a symbiotic relationship. There is a lot of back and forth in the
It
comics where they
works. A lot of it works too, is because I think Tom Hardy's like his way of being able to do dialogue with himself. He does it really well.
he acted really well. I
Yeah,
thought it was a little too much in the beginning, like because if you rewatch Venom 1, Venom doesn't talk that much. He doesn't
yeah,
have that much dialogue. So it's cool to expand on it and be like, okay, he's kind of grasping what it means to be human and the relationship. But it was like you said, it was a lot of campy, corny jokes, and
yeah.
some of it hit really well. But like when he's making him breakfast, like to cheer him up, it's like, oh,
Oh yeah.
the symbiote does do stuff like that to keep Eddie Brock happy so that he doesn't do something he'll regret, but like not like that. Like he doesn't, come on, buddy. Like no, he doesn't do that stuff. Like, but it like you said though, if you go in, it worked. If you're not looking to nitpick the movie, and you're not looking for it to be a failure, It works. Yeah. It works. It was kind of funny, the lighthearted moments. With that though, like, I wish we got more of that with Carnage, and I would like to see a director's cut of this movie, because I feel like there's got to be a lot of Woody Harrelson talking to Carnage, right? Because we didn't get much of that.
Yeah. Well, I think another thing with that is, like, what I thought going into this is that, like, I thought, all right, Carnage is thrown in the mix now, and he's really a sick and twisted dude. Like, him and Cletus Cassidy are crazy. So I was like, okay, that's probably going to make the movie more serious, right? And it does when you show Carnage on screen. But so, like, I thought they would do the same treatment for Venom, but they did not do that for Venom. Like,
well, I mean, to that point though, like,
yeah.
You're right. Like, when you first meet Carnage, and let's just dive into that part before we go too far, right? Like, he bites him, and that's how he bites him and gets Eddie Brock's blood, and it matches with Woody Harrelson or Cletus's blood, and that's how you get the symbiote of Carnage, right? It's an offspring, which they walked right past that and didn't explain any of it, but they mentioned it the whole time. But when you first meet Carnage, like, it's not like it takes over Woody Harrelson. You just see it like it did in Venom 1. They hyped it up. It was like a horror movie. Like, here's the dark mist, and you can kind of see the outline, and then he just fucking runs in and starts killing people. Like, to your point of the serious tone, you thought, oh shit, it's about to go down.
Yep.
But
so I thought Venom would kind of get the same treatment as far as, like, being more serious, but, like, they made Venom, like, even more, like, comedic in this.
He's kind of a pussy.
Yeah.
He's kind of a pussy.
Yeah, dude,
the church scene, not to jump ahead, but we're going to be all over the place because it all ties together. And in the church scene, when he retracts in, it's like, bro, that's not Venom. It, like, the whole lethal protector thing, the Venom I know is grabbing the priest and eating the priest before Carnage. I was waiting for the priest to get eaten that entire time. And I thought for sure that Shriek was going to get eaten by Venom so that he could, like, power up. But, like, him retracting into Tom Hardy and knowing that I knew that happened because of the trailer, I was so like, man, you're sucking the bamf out of this fucking boss fight right now. You're really sucking it out.
Yeah.
I don't
know. So, but a lot of the funny stuff with Venom, like, people were laughing in the theater. Like, I don't know if it was just, I think it might have just been maybe not my kind of humor, but I was like, all right, people are laughing here. So I'm like, this is working. Like, this humor. It might not be mine, but, like, people obviously find this funny, which is a positive. So I was like, okay, so that part is working. So I was like, I was surprised they went that route with Venom, but it worked.
Andy Serkis did a lot of weird things here.
Yeah.
Like, from the outside looking in, if we were to regurgitate this movie, there's a lot going on between Brock and the girlfriend, who's now engaged, who clearly loves Brock still, and, like, there's that whole love weird. You throw Venom, and now Venom has, like, an emotional, like, he's another character, not just Brock. And then you have the Cletus story, and now you have to keep up with Cletus's love life, and dude, there's so much going on. And I thought, like, kudos to Andy Serkis for not making it feel cluttered. It didn't feel cluttered the entire time I was watching it. Maybe it's different for you, but it felt like a streamlined movie. Like I kind of could piece it together without him having to tell me every single detail, which I didn't waste any mundane time. Like the cop in the beginning who ends up being the cop at the end. It's like, you could have made that a whole movie, but, like, he just subtly just moved past it. Brock didn't ask questions to waste time. Like, it worked, right? Like, the whole plot, I thought for not, and this all ties back to the dialogue too. Like, so the plot works, and then the like, jokes hit at a rom-com level. So I don't think you're a rom-com guy, but they're like rom-com jokes between Brock and Venom, which adds a bit of irony. And I thought it worked to a point, but there were times where it was like, okay, I'm stepping out of it. I know a lot about Venom. I love the symbiote stories.
Yeah.
That's not Venom. Venom would not give a shit about, like, Mrs. Chan.
Venom would not step foot in a nightclub.
Yeah, that whole scene was weird. But, like, he does,
Yeah.
though. He does in the comics, because he
Oh, he does.
so in the comics, he
Oh.
goes to, like, public places because he does
Yeah.
at times try to find a different host. Like, him and Eddie aren't
Oh,
always
okay.
like the best of friends in the comics. Like, he
Yeah.
does try to find different hosts.
Okay.
And Eddie at times has, like, said, "Let me go away." And that's how, we get Flash Thompson as Venom, and we get other, which I want to get
Gotcha.
to with the end credit scene. But,
Yeah.
like, there are different. It is weird, but, like, Venom can go elsewhere and try and find different hosts. That's why I thought, again, back to the plot, he did so many things so subtly that, like, you don't even question it.
Yeah.
But, like, so in the beginning, the part that, like, got me was that Eddie is getting all pissy, and, like, he's kind of a bitch in the beginning, where, like, he's like, everyone's calling him a loser and everything, and I get how that could, like, snowball, and the cops calling him a loser, his ex is calling him a loser, Venom's calling him a loser. But, like, bro, you just solved an unsolvable case with Venom. Like, why wouldn't you just succumb to the fact that you need him early on? I thought that part was the only thing about the plot that really bothered me, was that it took him an hour and a half to realize he needs Venom and Venom needs him.
Yeah. I felt like a lot of it was Venom. Venom was having a lot of trouble. I get being the lethal protector. Like, you can't just keep him from. You just can't have him eating chicken and chocolate all the time.
Yeah.
So, like,
Oh,
Venom was obviously feeling, being attacked, being, an established, like, symbiote now. Like, he was feeling a lot of things, and, like, I guess, like, that part made sense, for them splitting up, because, you know, Eddie, it's different than the relationship. I'll get to it, but it's different than the symbiotic relationship between Cletus Cassidy and Carnage. Like, it's way different than Eddie Brock and Venom. Like, I think Eddie Brock and Venom are, like, they're in it together. But
right.
like, with Eddie Brock, he's like, he establishes rules. He's like, hey, this is my body. It's like, you can't do this, you can't do that. If you don't like it, that's tough.
Mm.
With Cletus Cassidy and Carnage, you see the back and forth between them. It's like Carnage is really, like, he wants to be his own. He wants to be on his own. Like, Cletus
Yeah.
Cassidy wants to be honest. He has a lot of disagreements with Cletus Cassidy, and it shows, like, they didn't have that relationship.
Right.
Like, well, you see, like Cletus Cassidy, really wanted to save his girlfriend Shriek, but, like, Carnage was like, um, from her using her ability, Carnage was like, hey, I'm gonna kill her if she does this again. And and Cletus Cassidy's like, no, I'm trying to save her, don't hurt her. And Carnage is like, I'm gonna. It's
So, yeah, they addressed that, like, more directly too in the final fight, right?
yeah,
Where they're like, hey, Tom Hardy is like, they don't have the relationship we do.
yep,
We can beat them.
yep,
And it's like, I thought that was cool, but at the same time, I thought that, like, the Carnage I know doesn't really have, like, Cletus and Carnage are very into the same things. The
mm,
Shriek stuff is fine, but, like, Carnage and Cletus love to just brutally murder people. And I get that
yeah.
they, like,
That was one thing they agreed on.
they tried to, like, humanize Cletus a little bit, and I love that Circus kind of gave a nod to the fact that, like, it's bitter irony. We're following the movie formula of humanizing the villain, right? But at the
Yeah,
end, he's like, "Fuck this guy," and just eats him.
yeah,
Yeah, just like, no. Don't humanize with him. He's a piece of shit
yeah,
who's just trying to play mind fuck games with Tom Hardy right now. That's all he's doing. Like, there was never an ounce of humanity in Cletus Cassidy.
yeah.
he loved Shriek. Yeah, but what did Shriek love to do? She loved to kill people too.
Dude,
So like they were.
I think you realize, Cletus Cassidy just has absolutely no humanity to him. Like the movie kind of tries to tell you, like, yeah, this guy's a serial killer. He's crazy, but like he's trying to get like Eddie Brock to like sympathize with him. But what really sold me in when I was like, all right, Cletus Cassidy's a bad dude, is when he walked into that like gas station or whatever, and he straight up brutally murdered that guy behind the counter. Dude, he
Ruthless.
just stomped the life out of him, and that was one part of the movie where I was like, oh shit,
Yeah,
like
no carnage required for that.
I'm like, that's Carnage. I'm like, well, you know what I mean, but I'm like, that's Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
so like I guess I'll ask you, did you think it took a lot to get to Carnage? Like a little too long to get to Carnage? Like that
Um,
was something I was like, maybe I was over anxious because I was so excited, but I was like, man, this is taking a while. Like you're running out of screen time for Carnage.
they probably could have done it sooner. Um, like I think they could have set it up to where he probably gets it a lot faster than just biting him. But like, and I don't know how like death sentences work, but I'm like, I don't think they happen that fast.
It was
Like,
6 months, wasn't it? Didn't 6 months go by?
yeah, well,
Or
like what happened was I think he was off the hook for a while, but then Venom and Eddie found the bodies
right.
that they found. So when they found them, they put the death sentence back on.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's starting
Yeah.
to click now. Yeah, all of a sudden California reinstates the death penalty in a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally, they found a few bodies and they're like, all right, he's dead.
Yeah, that was that part I remember giggling because I was like, what are we talking about here? But crazier. In all fairness, crazier things have happened in the past year.
Yeah.
So that part wasn't too outlandish, but it was a little weird. Um, the girlfriend dynamic with Anne is now becoming very confusing to me. Because she wants her own life, she needs her own life, and it sounds like Eddie's kind of left her to her own devices because he was shocked when he found out she was engaged. Like they clearly
Yeah.
hadn't talked in a while. Uh, but she clearly still has feelings for Eddie. So
Yeah.
I
I
guess
think what I think what screws up Eddie too is probably having Venom in him. Like Venom, like I think they address it in the movie. Like Venom can't control like his emotional state.
right.
He can't fix that. Like he can fix in like physical injuries and everything like that. He can't fix that. But one thing I was thinking, I was like, the symbiote probably makes that like even more, like just amplifies that. So like
Mm.
I think without the symbiote, Eddie would be able to move on a lot easier. But the fact that he has Venom constantly talking in his head, and this and that, probably, whenever there's any mention of her, I think that's what fucks him up
Yeah.
and makes it
I'm
more difficult for him.
and Venom constantly bringing her up too probably makes it tough to move on.
Yeah.
But that yeah, the when they fight too, I like how they changed how the symbiotes would fight, right? Like the Riot Venom fighting was so tough to keep up with.
Dude, that was
'Cause
a messy fight.
it was like throwing 2 gallons of paint at each other and seeing which one would last. Like
Yep.
it was weird. I like how Andy Serkis was like, "No, we're not gonna keep that. They're actually gonna be their own separate symbiotes, and they're gonna fight each other."
Yep.
Um, so I thought the fight scenes were a lot better. I did think though that like I think Carnage could have had more vocals and more like you don't understand the symbiote other than that he just wants to kill Venom
Yeah.
and that's it.
one thing I'll ask is like, did Carnage's voice throw you off at all? Because I feel like Carnage's voice is like more high pitched than what we got in the movie.
So yeah, in the
I think,
cartoons
yeah,
when we were growing up, Carnage's
yeah,
voice was
or
a lot different.
like the Spider-Man video game, like with Carnage in it. I'm talking like Nintendo 64 one, PlayStation 1 one. Like I think Carnage has like this like a lot higher pitched voice than that.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't hate how, like, because Carnage is huge, like it looked like
yeah,
Carnage was a little bit bigger than Venom.
yeah,
So they kind of gave him a deeper voice. I kind of like that. But the voice was definitely a little bit to get used to. Um, but I didn't hate it. Actually, I'm looking it up right now to see who actually was the voice of Carnage. Was it Woody
yeah.
Harrelson?
Oh, I have in the movie. I have no idea. It might have been. Yeah,
Because
because Tom Hardy does Venom's voice.
that was a very, very. It didn't sound like Woody Harrelson. It was a
No, it didn't.
very, very deep voice.
Yeah, it might have been somebody else totally.
Yeah, I wasn't a total fan of it, but then again, we didn't really get to hear it that much. It was like Venom in the first one.
Yeah.
So like I would have liked more. I guess I would have
Apparently,
liked
he did do the voice of Carnage.
Woody Harrelson did. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. I'm reading that now. And it's fine. I could see that.
Woody Harrelson. It says Woody Harrelson portrays Carnum, obviously in Venom, Let There Be Carnage. But the actor, but he wanted Andy Serkis to take over the voice acting for Carnage.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you? He's the greatest
Yeah.
fucking voice actor of all time.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you? But like, I feel like there's got to be a director's cut where Carnage, and I would have loved a moment with just him, Woody Harrelson talking to Carnage, just to like,
Yeah.
because how did Woody Harrelson know? And I mean, maybe this is part of the brilliance of what Serkis did to keep the movie flowing, was he just skipped over the bullshit. But how would Woody Harrelson know that sound affects them? You
Yep.
know, I would have liked like some sort of like master plan or just like a conversation to be like, what do you want out of this? Is this temporary? Is this permanent? Because Carnage and Cletus Cassidy were a permanent fixture. Like no one else plays Carnage. It's always Cletus.
Hmm.
And this kind of brings me to the end credit scene, right? Like, and we've talked about the movie for a half hour. I'm sure we're gonna go back to the movie, but the end credit scene could actually bring back
Yeah, exactly
Carnage.
what I was thinking.
And honestly, like I feel like that would make a lot of sense because we didn't Carnage didn't go out like a bitch, right? Like we talk
Yeah.
about Marvel villains who go out like Ronan. Ronan went out because he lost the dance battle to Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And I thought Ronan was a really badass villain.
Yep.
Um, Red Skull grabbed the cube and just disappeared. Like that's just not how that shit's supposed to happen. Carnage went out like a fucking thug, dude. He was
Yep.
beating the shit out of Venom. He was doing everything he could. He was eating everybody. We got Toxin coming. We got a bunch of fucking crazy shit going on.
Yep.
I would love to throw Spider-Man in the middle and let everyone just duke it out. I would love to see Maximum Carnage be Venom 3.
They have the perfect opportunity now doing that. With the
Do you want
after
to just
credit scene.
do you want to describe the after credit scene for everyone?
Yeah, yeah, why not? So, all right, so we've reached the end of the movie. I think people know about Venom. I mean, Carnage is gone. So Venom's got to go off. Venom and Eddie got to go off to hide because they're in trouble because the word is out pretty much. So they go off to this island. We don't know the location. So the after credit scene has them sitting in this hotel. And nothing crazy. This first off, I'll say it's a very dark hotel that they're in, and they're just watching TV and they're just talking to one another. But Venom is explaining to him how Eddie doesn't even know half, not even half of what like about like Venom's world, or like like
Couldn't even begin to comprehend it, is what he said.
exactly.
Like there's just so much information it would blow his mind.
So he's like, "Oh, I'll show you just a little bit. See if you can handle it." So as Venom's about to do whatever he's going to do, so the room starts to shake, and then you just see this like blinding light just change the room. Like it's still the same room, but like it's just a lot of change. Like it's not a dark room anymore.
It's kind of like a
He's,
bomb went off outside or something.
yeah, but now he's in like this like very well lit room in this like tropical paradise or whatever, and like the room's all nice and everything like that. And the Venom's like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And like Eddie's like scared, like terrified of what's happening, and like that you hear Venom, he's literally like, "What the hell was that?" And like that was a funny line there. Like, "Oh, that's just a towel."
Yeah, when the towel, like you said, it went from a shitty like motel on a beach to like this nice huge resort where they have the towels in the shape of the swans
Like the
and
crane,
shit.
yeah,
And Venom's like, "What the hell is that?" And Eddie's like, "It is just a towel."
the towel. that
That was
that line was good. Um, but then Eddie's like asking Venom like, "What did you do?" And Venom's like, "I don't know. It wasn't me." But
yeah.
then you hear on the TV, you hear J. Jonah Jameson's voice start going, and that's when like the gasps in the theaters were starting, and like the oh shit, like they like
Yep.
people were like freaking out, starting to freak out. So like he's looking at the TV, and Eddie's like, what is it? And then Venom comes out, and Venom's looking at the TV, and we'll get into this after I describe it, but then it cuts to them showing Spider-Man, and and Venom's like staring at the screen watching Spider-Man, and he just this was the most like Venom like I think they did throughout the whole movie. From a character perspective, you just hear him say that guy, and he just licks
Mm.
the screen.
Oh my god. I was honestly, so as he was licking the screen, I looked down at his chest to see if his chest would change to have the spider on it, and
Yeah,
it didn't. I was so bummed. I was like, you missed an opportunity there, but I'm sure Circus has something planned for that.
that's gonna happen.
Oh my fucking god. I remember as soon as I heard J. Jonah Jameson, I remember I had a bag full of M&Ms because I thought the scene was going to happen after the credits.
Yeah,
They did a mid-credit scene. So I started eating my M&Ms and then dropped them all. I was like, "Oh my god, let's go." And then when he licks the screen, I was like, yes.
dude, I see Spider-Man on the screen, dude. I ask other Mike, not the Mike usually with us, but our other friend Mike. Dude, I saw Spider-Man pop up on the screen. Dude, I lifted my hands up like I was on a like the top of a roller coaster. I was like, ah.
Dude, this is so like you got to think there are three main storylines for us 90s babies, right? Well, 89, but us 90s children.
Yeah,
There are three main storylines we give a shit about, right? It's Venom, it's Maximum Carnage, it's Age of Apocalypse, and it's Civil War. Those are the three ones that we grew up on watching on TV every Saturday. And like they flunked on Civil War. I think they flunked on it. It was a great movie and everything, but like that wasn't Civil War.
mm,
And then they flunked on Age of Apocalypse or whatever they called that fucking trash movie.
yeah.
Now we have a chance. Like, please save our souls with fucking give us Maximum Carnage. Give us everything you can there. Like, oh yes,
So
yes,
like,
yes.
so like, let's address how Maximum Carnage can be a possibility from this, because that just flash of light and everything like a bomb went off in there. That's obviously something that's going to happen in No Way Home.
Yeah,
I think.
that's gotta be what happened
Well,
in No Way Home.
I think a lot of people, what I've been reading and like seeing in videos is like, oh, that news part is taken from like Far From Home, but I'm like, but nothing. multiversal like happens in Far From Home. Like they mention multiverses, but nothing happens like that. We only see something happen like that so far in No Way Home. So I think the news stuff was just them covering it again. Because news stations usually
Well,
do that
I'm wondering if
sometimes.
No Way Home. It can't, right? Because isn't okay.
I think it's whatever Doctor Strange does in No Way Home.
But I thought whatever Doctor Strange did in No Way Home was he made it so that no one knew he was Peter Parker, or that was the plan,
It was
right?
obviously I think there's some answers we don't know yet because until No Way Home comes out.
So like
But
I'm thinking to your point though is what I'm thinking happen is that they whatever happens in No Way Home, like so obviously Strange and Parker do something. But I'm thinking it brings them back. The multiverse gets fucked up because they're trying to go back to that J. Jonah Jameson part and stop that from happening. And that's where it gets fucked up. And whatever
yeah,
they do makes it so like it's amplified, right?
yeah,
So go ahead with yours. That's what I think. Maybe.
yeah. I think it's Doctor Strange trying to do it, but he screws up just because of what Peter Parker, what Spider-Man is like trying to do at the same time.
Right.
So I think that was Venom being brought into the MCU.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that time, like that universe. Um, so I mean, now what does that mean for Venom? Like, I think for Venom, does that mean he goes back to nobody knowing about the symbiote? And does
So that
that change the fact that Carnage might not be dead anymore?
So I agree with all of that, right? I think
Yeah,
the symbiote stuff probably, if we're gonna drag it back, probably, maybe. I think the more important thing is that wasn't the Venom from the Venom franchise. I think that was Topher Grace's Venom because they've never met. Venom doesn't know about Spider-Man, right? So
mm,
now that he sees him, it's like when he saw him, he knew who that was and he hated him. Like he licked the
yeah,
screen. He was ready to eat the fucking TV until the guy walks out of the bathroom. Uh, he was ready to eat the screen. He was so like visibly shaken by seeing Spider-Man.
yeah.
I think that's Topher Grace's Venom now. I think that's his symbiote, and I think he's
Mm,
pissed. And I think the multiverse is wide the fuck open at that very moment. And I think that's how you get maximum carnage. You get
oh,
he's no longer the lethal protector. Now he's pissed off and he's angry and he's vengeful. He's just lethal. And I,
okay.
I think in the same token, Carnage is back. And I think that's why they were so quick to just say, like, fuck this guy, get him out of here. Because they're gonna bring back a diabolical maximum version of Carnage that
Yeah.
is amazing, right? And really, I'm curious, and this is the part of this that pisses me off, right? Is that you drop this knowing full well that this ties to a movie, and this is why probably Venom kept getting pushed. Now that we know, right? Venom
Yeah.
probably kept getting pushed, not because it wasn't done or anything, but because it ties so closely with Spider-Man. They knew that there was going to be backlash if people had to wait for Spider-Man to figure out what the
Mm,
fuck is going on. So, because I think the problem was with Spider-Man there a bunch of kids who can't be near COVID, can't be near each other. They had to put them on break.
yeah.
Uh, when 90% of Venom is just fucking Tom Hardy. Like you literally could
Right.
have shot that Tropic Thunder style. Uh, so like I think we're gonna get more answers, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Venom isn't in No Way Home, but like is the end credit scene, if that makes sense. So like Venom could like Spider-Man does everything, right? Like he wipes the slate, he saves the day with Doctor Strange, which I don't think is Doctor Strange, by the way. But he
Yeah.
saves the day with Doctor Strange, whatever. Movie's over, everyone's happy, honky dory, right? That's how all these movies end. And the end credit scene would be like Venom or Eddie Brock at the door of Aunt May's house.
Yeah.
Or like, Tom Holland doing a parade and then Venom just eating an entire float or something wild like that, right?
Yeah. you're probably right on that. I don't think Venom won't have a role like he won't have like a Doc Ock like Green Goblin like role for No Way
Right.
Home. He's not going to have that. I think they're going to save that for one of the deals that Sony and Marvel Studios has right now. There's going to be another trilogy for Spider-Man in the MCU.
Yeah.
After No Way Home, he's getting another 3 movies.
But is it this
Um,
Spider-Man? Because I'd be shocked if it was Tom Holland. I think he's done.
you think he's done?
Yeah, I think it's time to add some diversity, and I wouldn't be shocked if we get. Honestly, man, hear
I
me out
think
on this.
Miles Morales is something that'll happen.
And I
Too.
think it's the perfect time to, because Venom is fucking hot right now, right? Venom is, because they haven't fucked it up. And I'm sorry to be kind of pessimistic. They haven't fucked up Venom yet. They fucked up Venom in Sam Raimi's version, and like people were very shoddy on the symbiote stuff. But like you could put Venom anywhere. His symbol is almost as recognizable as Spider-Man's. Like, but Spider-Man doesn't even have the best story with Venom. Venom has a better story with Miles Morales.
Okay.
So I really think that if you did, you could have an Avengers level movie if you used Miles Morales versus Venom to save the world, which is the planet of symbiotes, and that's Wraith and Null and all that shit going on in the comic. It's a current comic run now, but it's like the hottest comic run in like 8 years. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
But you need Miles Morales to do it. You can't use Peter Parker. So I think if you were going to get rid of Peter Parker, it would be very soon after you do like a Maximum Carnage run.
Maybe pitting Tom Holland's Spider-Man against Venom would be the way that he could probably pass the torch to somebody that played Miles Morales.
Yeah,
Probably.
I mean, it's just like the way that they're setting everything up is that Venom can be his own person, his own franchise, his own hero. They did a good job by not, and you know, I bitterly say this because I really wanted Spider-Man in the first Venom. They could have done. They did a good job of making Venom his own thing. He's not reliant on Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
To that point, the best run of Venom is the most recent one where he's fighting Wraith. There's the new Thor. There's the new Spider-Man. There's people in his way, you know, and someone's killing off all the symbiotes. There's an Avengers level movie in there. You just got to be careful on how you do it. And I think Peter Parker's time is up. Like we've seen Peter Parker versus Doc Ock, and we're about to see it again. And I don't have to preach this to you, but like that's the best Doc Ock you're gonna get. He's the best Doc Ock. You know, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe is the best Green Goblin we're gonna get.
Yep.
You know, it's like trying to recast Heath Ledger, you know, with Jared Leto while Heath Ledger's alive. No one's gonna buy it. You know, like, so I think you have to cool off Spider-Man for a little bit and pivot to Miles Morales. If you're gonna do it, you do it now. And then that opens the door for Spider-Gwen, Silk. You know, you get a bunch of different characters. You don't have to go full cartoon with Spider-Ham, but like you can do the Spider-Verse versus the symbiotes. And I think that's a fucking great movie in there, man. That's gold. And I hope that's what they do. And I hope that's like the next movie is Maximum Carnage. But we'll see.
They have Marvel Studios has a tough road ahead of them. Like, I feel like, because No Way Home is going to be like I think that's going to be like the Spider-Man movie.
It should be
of our lifetime. I hope it is. I feel like it will be. And after that movie, it's you're kind of like, how do you top that? And I think the way to do that is put him against this Venom. I think.
I think you're right. I think.
Yeah.
But like at the same time too, like this movie's gonna be. There's a lot of ifs and buts surrounding Spider-Man. That's why I think this conversation's difficult, not impossible. Like we can speculate. We're the boys.
Yeah.
But I think I think this movie has so many questions surrounding who's in it. What are they gonna do? Like, are you going to? Let's put it this way: if they Spider-Man, we kind of have an idea how this is gonna play out, right? Like, Spider-Man's gonna be outed. He's gonna have to go through the legal process, right? Because now they know who he is. He's gonna have to figure that out. He's gonna run Doctor Strange. He's gonna have to go through the multiverse, and theoretically, he's gonna have to fight every villain he's ever seen, and they're gonna
Yep.
do a miniature version of Sinister Six. Now, what does that entail? You know, his lawyer could be Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
His wingman when he goes back in time could be the Punisher. It could be. We probably not with the Punisher. The Daredevil is probably more likely. But him and the Punisher had some team ups. You know, there's a credited student in the IMDb. The student could be Sam Alexander, who's Nova. So he could team up with Nova. This could be a 6v6 where you have the three Spider-Mans, Tobey and Garfield and Holland, with Strange, Daredevil or Punisher, and Nova, and they fight all the villains together. Or, to your point, maybe it could be Venom helps Spider-Man, and the symbiote takes Spider-Man, and that's how he powers up in this one. Like, wouldn't that be something they rammed the Iron Spider suit up your ass for about 3 trailers, and then all of a sudden, typical Marvel, it's actually the Venom suit the whole time.
Yeah, I think the Iron Spider suit is a swerve.
There's no shot that he's in the Iron Spider suit.
I'm like, dude, he's not wearing that. When he's like standing on top of that police car, he's not wearing the Iron Spider suit.
No shot. He's in the Venom suit.
It's just like what they do with Doc Ock too, where he's like, "Hello, Peter." Like, he's not saying that to Tom Holland's. He's not saying that to Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Right, and no matter how hard they try to swerve we know that Tobey and Andrew are in there. You know that they're in there. Like, there's no shot you brought back the villains to not bring back Tobey and Andrew.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, and same with Cox. Cox was seen on set like 2 years ago. They were like, nope, Charlie Cox is here, and now all of a sudden he wasn't there. So, like, Charlie Cox is there, whether they use it or not. He filmed something.
Yeah.
So, like, I think there's a lot to take away from that and what they could do, what they should do. Behind the scenes, we know that Scarlet Witch is involved too, right? So, like, there's so many things going on at play right now. I think if when he's done and walked away, I don't want anything to do really with Carnage in this movie, but I want the end credit scene to be like, no, it's going to be Maximum Carnage. You're going to fight Carnage and Venom, and that's going to be the repercussions of him owning the symbiote and whatever. And then I want it to be done. Get him out of there. We've seen all we're going to see with him, right? Like, what more can we get from him after he's done the symbiote thing? He's fought all of his old villains, right? Like, I don't want to see that anymore. Like, you already did it twice now. So I think to the point of the conversation is, what are we going to see with Maximum Carnage? The next Spider-Man or Venom movie needs to be Maximum Carnage. Needs to be. Can't like tiptoe and do like a piece of Spider-Man was kind of Maximum Carnage. Like, it needs to be a full embodiment of, like, Aunt May dies or whatever, and it doesn't matter because you reset the timeline anyway, and we get Miles Morales next. Like, that's what I ultimately want to see. I want to see the Young Avengers with Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen. I want to see Miss Marvel, the Kate Bishop's Hawkeye. That's how I want them to come together. But I mean, we'll see, right? King the Conqueror is going to fuck all this up anyway.
I do this with the multiverse thing. Well, like, with multiverses now, literally anything is possible. Like,
I just don't think I don't think any other movie could do what the Spider-Man movie has the potential to do. Like, no Iron Man movie. Like, no one cares about, like, Iron Man's villains. Like, and this is the beauty of what Sam Raimi did with Venom, and just to keep it all tied together. Like, he didn't do a good job with Venom, but he did such a masterful job with every other villain, including Green Goblin, which I wish James Franco wasn't a pedophile, because I bet you he'd be in this movie too. Like, if he wasn't a straight up pedophile, he'd be in this movie. And, like, oh my God, that would be so cool if instead of Octavius, the final, like, shot of that trailer was James Franco on the glider saying, talking to Peter, or like
Yeah.
picking up Tom Holland instead of Tobey Maguire. That would have been so fucking cool. Oh my God. But I think you're never gonna see a redo like that
No.
with anyone else. Like the only way you're gonna get a redo would be like a Secret Wars or something like that, where they break the multiverse and in different dimensions, Captain America, Iron Man, all them come back. But even then, I don't think Downey's dressing up ever again.
No, probably not.
So I think this is your one shot at hitting the nostalgia feels. This movie could be a $2 billion movie.
Oh my! This movie is going to take the number one of 2021. I think.
I mean, if this movie breaks $1 billion, do you think they rush another Venom movie out to do Maximum Carnage right away before Woody Harrelson's and Andy Serkis fill up?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would probably see one probably as soon as 2023.
Because I mean, like the beauty of like what they did with Venom was they didn't tie it to the MCU, so you don't have to follow any of their rules. You could do whatever the fuck you want on the side, and it doesn't affect Falcon and Winter Soldier. It doesn't affect anything else. You could just and I hope they do. I hope they just say, "Fuck you, Marvel."
Well, you're gonna be disappointed then, because another part of the Sony Marvel Studios deal is that Sony movies are canon.
It's fine.
Yeah, that's another part of the deal.
Well, they're about to break it, but like even if it is canon, you could do it on the. It's like technically on the side, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know what I would even be cool with too, if they were like, listen, this is too much for one movie, which I would be on board for. If anyone out there ever does want to know what we're talking about when we say Maximum Carnage, it's about 13 issues directly, and it's about 26 issues in total. Probably take you 2 hours to read it. It's a lot of material in there. And then they did it in the cartoon where it was, I think it was 4 episodes or maybe even 5 episodes of the cartoon on Saturday mornings. But if you put this on Disney Plus or Netflix or whatever, I don't think I'd be pissed. I think I'd be okay if they decided to put it on a streaming service and make it a TV show.
I mean, they probably would.
I'd be cool with that. Like weekly. I think that would be so fucking unique and brand changing. And I mean, granted, I've been saying for years that Spider-Man belongs on streaming services, not the big screen, because I feel like there's just so much to tell there. But that would be a different way too to do Maximum Carnage. There's just no way they let Carnage go. The way he went out like a thug. But like he went out so abruptly that like there's just no fucking way. And like they subtly they introduced too that as they eat human brains, the symbiotes, they power up and like they get bigger. And I don't know if you know this, but in the comic books, there's versions of Venom where he's like as big as a fucking house. Yeah. And he's so big and fighting Spider-Man. Like I want to see that stuff.
Yeah, dude. At one point I thought Carnage was like almost as big as the church. I feel like
he was huge.
Almost at one point during the movie, I was like, yes. I'm like, that's.
They fucked around too with like something I didn't like was that they constantly had so many arms out, showing like different weapons and stuff like that that he just wasn't using. It's like you kind of lost focus as to where to look. I didn't like that. I remember a few times being like, I get the arms coming out of the back, right? Because that's how they keep balance. But like there were times where he literally had a full Peacock's like arsenal of weapons. And it was just like, what are we doing here? What am I looking at? So I mean, also too, we haven't even scraped the surface. I thought Shriek, when I was watching the trailer, was gonna end up being Scream. They haven't even brought Scream in. And all of this is to say too, we're still talking about Venom, but where the fuck is Morbius?
Yeah, that's like when's that gonna come in?
Yes, dude. This is weird, but like I watch the Morbius trailer at least once a week because I think that movie is easily going to be the best Spider-Man movie standalone that we've seen. How does Morbius play into Spider-Man, and how does Morbius and Venom don't get along? So I would love to know how they're gonna entangle. So like, and it's weird because I think that Morbius versus Venom would be a better movie than Tom Holland versus Venom. But I just want to know
Yeah.
what Sony's plans
Well,
are.
we're not gonna have to wait that long either, because Morbius is January.
Oh, they finally announced January?
Yeah, that's I think that hopefully that's the last the release date for it. But right now it has a date of January 28th.
Well, I think Spider-Man fucked all this up because they didn't finish Spider-Man on time.
Yeah,
And it's probably because they had so many different people they were smuggling into the set, and then
right. Yeah,
COVID happened. So I think Spider-Man fucked up all of this stuff because Spider-Man was supposed to come out like 6 months ago. Um,
yep.
and so was Venom was supposed to happen in October of last year. So I think we're about to get real spoiled here. I think we're about to. And
Oh, definitely.
I hope we were talking about Maximum Carnage. I really hope Maximum Carnage goes straight to fucking like they immediately hit the bricks and they release it on like Disney Plus. Like, here you go, guys. Just enjoy. Try not to cream yourself. Enjoy Maximum Carnage.
Maybe, yeah, probably. Well, like I
I
could
mean,
probably maybe see that a thing as maybe make that a Disney Plus thing, so maybe you don't have to slap a rating on something on that.
no.
I mean, obviously give a warning or whatever if it's going to be violent or whatever, but you don't have to slap that
Or throw it on
PG-13
Netflix.
rating.
Like you
Yeah,
could. Well, actually, you can't. You probably can't throw it on Netflix. Maybe Sony could, but like,
yeah,
even if you don't put it on Disney, put it somewhere where like you don't need, like you said, don't need to slap a rating on it.
yeah,
And like you can go full daredevil with it and dive into everyone, get as nitty gritty as you want, get as creative as you want. And like I know these places don't like streaming stuff like this, but I think this is the perfect opportunity to stream something that would get binge watched over and over and over again, and like keep your brand relevant. I I really don't see a downfall. And then like Venom could be an Avenger. Like Venom could
yeah,
be like in the multiverse. Flash Thompson could be Venom. Flash Thompson gets the symbiote. So like literally, we could see three Venoms fighting each other, and it would be canon, and it would be so fucking cool. I think Venom this Venom the movie Let There Be Carnage was a B plus A minus movie. Depending on how you like the comedy, it was B plus A minus. I think what they did though was this was a better ground setting movie than the first one to give you
definitely.
the olive branch to go fucking anywhere you want now. Now you can truly go anywhere. You got Carnage out of the way and you did Carnage. Good, not great.
Yeah.
Good, not great. But you're now Spider-Man's giving you the door to like, okay, we can revisit this guy though. We can do this again.
Well, another thing cool about Venom: Let There Be Carnage is like I feel like this is the movie where like you didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I think well because like maybe like a month or two ago you were saying how like you wanted a Spider-Man Venom like crossover, and like we were kind of thinking like maybe because of the gripes with Sony and Marvel Studios, maybe they won't do that right now. But obviously we were very wrong on that, and I like that they saved that. They added that surprise into there, because you sit through a pretty decent movie overall, in my opinion. I like Venom: Let There Be Carnage, but like to have that kind of after credit scene in there with with so many different possibilities that they can do now, and like I think nobody expected that this movie to end this way, and
Yeah,
the
I
fact
mean,
the fact that it did, it makes it makes it it's a game changer, that's like I've been saying.
no, I mean saving that for the end. Like I don't know about you, but I was looking for like for nods throughout the movie, and Circus didn't give us much throughout the movie.
Yeah,
There weren't a ton of Easter eggs. There were some here and there, but there weren't like the drawings on the wall and stuff. I was looking. He did such a good job by saying, no, 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 just wait. End credit scene. You'll get your Spider-Man fix. Like if that happened in the beginning of the movie, it would have ruined the movie.
yeah,
Like if that would have happened, because the whole time you would have been like, well, where is he? What's going on? Like I think we want it, right? We need it. But
yeah.
the way he did it is Andy Serkis deserves a ton of credit for making a rock star movie within the parameters that the studio and Marvel gave him. PG-13, under 2 hours, and he delivers a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was some carnage left on the table. But Spider-Man, I think, is going to redeem that and give you more. It's just a matter of when. Like now, it's like how long do we have to wait for? And I think that right, like the trilogy, the third movie is your big payoff in a trilogy, right? Like every trilogy, the third movie is the payoff. Like
Yeah,
Captain
it can
America,
be.
Civil War. I mean, Iron Man was supposed to be the Mandarin, which is his main villain. Didn't really pan out that way. We're
Yeah.
slowly redeeming the Mandarin though over time with
Yep.
Shang-Chi. But like even Avengers, the third one was fucking Infinity War. It's a big payoff. Like,
Yeah.
I think your third movie has to be the big payoff, and the best storyline Venom has is Maximum Carnage, other than his new Null series, which is
Yeah.
Zoink Scooby Doo. Totally recommend if you like Venom, read the Null Chronicles. Yeah, but can we take a second too to appreciate Woody Harrelson breaks out of prison? The first thing he does is he puts on a Tony Montana Scarface outfit.
Dude, that red suit. I was saying to my friend the other day, I was like, I gotta get that suit.
Gotta get it,
And
man.
I gotta get that car.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god. That part made me cringe when when he picks a Shriek up in the car and she's like, "Oh my god, you remembered." And he was just like, "Yeah, of course I remembered." It's like, dude, that car, there's no shot that her dream car in her favorite color is just sitting there. Get the fuck out of here. But it was stuff like that it was so outlandish that that that's not the last we saw of Carnage. That's not it. They got to do something else, and the multiverse is the way to do that.
Yeah, I get your point now. Like, it's like, all right, well, we'll take away Carnage here for now, but you're likely going to see him again
Like
because it's possible.
exists. He exists. And to be honest, too, there's no shot Venom wins that fight with him without the cop and without Dan.
Yeah,
Like Dan saves the day twice. So like,
yeah,
dude, I would love to see Spider-Man thrown in the mix there, and I think if anyone watching this, if you truly enjoy the Spider-Man symbiote shit, like if you go into this with an open mind, you're gonna love it. If you go into it with a negative mind, you're gonna hate it. This movie is literally the epitome of you get out of it what you want to get out of it. Like if you want a good movie, if you want to nitpick it, you can nitpick it to death. Like I'm a comic nerd. I could have nitpicked the shit out of it. I thought it was fun. It was a fun little ride. It had its funny moments, it had its serious moments. The underlying tone is very serious, like depression and how like I don't want to say suicide, but like he talks about it. Like he when he's on the bike, he's like, I want to kill myself, but I can't, can I?
yeah,
So like there's some very serious underlying tone, and obviously murder. Not to skip over
yeah,
that one. But like if you want to take, it's a fun joyride of like morality for about an hour and a half, which I thought was good.
yeah. I enjoyed the movie. It was one of those things. I was so excited going into it, and I was like, all the parties, working on it and everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this. No matter what.
Would you? Do you think if they made that movie 2.5 hours long, you would have enjoyed it more or less? Let's say 2 hours. Say 2 hours. Another 30 minutes.
2 hours. I think they could have added more to it. I think they kind of got. I also at the same time feel like they kind of got the Godzilla versus Kong treatment where like stuff was cut out.
Yeah.
I feel like in this because there's parts here in this movie where it flows really strangely. Like
Yeah.
you feel like maybe there's a little bit missing there. That probably could have been explained a little more. Like I think maybe one of the things he said is like the thing like the cop. Like that probably could have been explained more.
Yeah.
The things surrounding like his character and maybe even Shriek too, a little bit, because like I felt like with Shriek and the cop, I didn't really think they were great characters. You know, when they were on screen, for me, it was kind of like I was kind of like shrugging my shoulders, like, okay.
Yeah.
Um, they were like they were the total opposite of Venom and Carnage, because like, you know, those characters, I mean, obviously they're in the title of the movie, but still, like, they caught your attention. I didn't feel that way with the Cop or Shriek.
See, like, the first thing I thought of when I left this movie was that I think the same thing. I
Yeah.
think if you remove the Cop and Shriek and you actually plan this out, which I know Sony didn't, because I think Sony's probably the worst filmmaking studio there is. If Sony planned this out properly, like Marvel does, I thought it would have been so fucking cool to give Cletus Cassidy the Hannibal Lecter treatment in the first movie.
Mm.
Like if in the beginning Tom Hardy kept going to him for help, and you built a relationship that way, like, hey, you know, I'm not good with killing people. I interviewed you in the past, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of lay the brickwork there versus Tom needing to go there and shriek and all this shit. Like, I feel like you could have had a better, more streamlined movie, but like, again, it worked. It worked. It was fine. Just not
Yeah,
ideal with those.
it still worked. But that was one of the few things of the movie I probably nitpicked. You know, this was a movie I didn't really want to nitpick. You know, I just wanted, like, kind of what you had said, where I just wanted to enjoy it. Um, those are the parts where I think that, you know, maybe you could you could have changed it up a little bit, and maybe um, well, that was another. It was another thing that worried me too, was the runtime of the movie. You know, an hour and a half, and I was like, oh wow. I said, wow, that's quick.
Yeah.
You know, for a superhero movie, that's quick. Um,
With two of the biggest, like stars that you could possibly have, right? Venom and
yeah,
Carnage.
I feel like Andy Serkis just didn't want to waste time with it.
Yeah,
I guess.
I would imagine Sony put him on a time block too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I would love to see, like, we got a Snyder cut. I'd love to see a circus cut of this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely some stuff he probably left on the table that I would love. I don't buy DVDs. I will buy this DVD to see what deleted scenes didn't make it in. Love to
Yeah,
see
I'm curious too. Yeah, because
because
I feel like there definitely was stuff that was left out.
and you can kind of get an idea too of like some of the ways he wanted to go. And I don't know if they signed Circus to a multi-movie deal, but I feel like he laid some serious groundwork with Venom. My roommates aren't big comic guys, and when we saw it, they like they were getting gassed, but that end credit scene, they were mind blown. They were like, "Oh my god, are we getting it?" Like as movie fans, as superhero fans, we are fucking spoiled right now.
Yeah.
They're about to spoil us rotten. I'm so fucking hyped for it.
Oh, yeah, they're going to go crazy now. And
Sony should. Sony can carry the
yeah.
load now. Like I just kind of ripped into them saying they're the worst filmmaking company in the world, but like now they have the Spider-Verse and they've shown that like people want to help and be in it, like Andy Serkis. You don't have the James Francos to help carry a Spider-Man trilogy, you know? Like you have Andy Serkis, you have Tom Hardy, Woody Harrelson. Easily could find someone to be Miles Morales. I feel like that's like anyone wants to be Miles Morales, you know? I'd be very excited to see where they go next. If they don't do a full Maximum Carnage, though, you just wasted this movie. You absolutely
Mm.
wasted this movie.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I think that should be the route they go now. Um, a lot of possibilities with this movie, and this is, like I said, this is the movie I don't think you expected that from, but we got it, and it's really exciting. So here we are.
Yeah, let's get it, man. I'm very into it.
um, but yeah, I think we covered a lot of the movie. You know, try to cover as much as we can with these premiere episodes. Um, that's pretty much our overall thoughts on Venom: Let There Be Carnage. I enjoyed it. You know, George thought it was good too. Um, what'd you think of that? What'd you think of that after credit scene? Um, definitely give us your thoughts on it. Let us know. We'll have some more premiere episodes coming throughout the year. No Way Home will definitely be one of them when that comes in December. I can promise that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we'll leave it there, and then we'll see you guys for the next one.
See ya.